Hey guys, Mike Lawson here. Welcome to another edition or episode of Friday Night Leadership. And in this topic tonight, I want to go over why you need to stop talking or why you need to stop trying to convince your friends and family. I mean, you want to keep talking to them, but you want to stop trying to convince your friends and family, and you want to start talking to A players. So I'm going to go over that tonight. I'm actually going to give you a couple phrases that you can say to get literally 99% of people to look at your opportunity. And I understand that, a lot of us have what's called a chicken list, especially if you're new to the industry. You're afraid to talk to these people, and you may be nervous to even talk to A players. I'm going to go over what an A player is in a minute. But do me a favor, drop me in the comment section where you're watching in from. Hey, Michelle from Maryland. Hey, Sherilyn. So let's get into this topic tonight. I'm fired up about this topic because this is when my business really exploded, when we started to focus on going after A players. Now, here's the definition of an A player. An A player is simply this: somebody that makes six figures. I would even say now, multiple six figures. It almost seems like I don't know how people survive if they don't make six figures in today's world with how expensive things are. And if you don't make six figures, I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying, here's the definition of an A player who you want to focus on. Okay, so someone that makes six figures or multiple six figures, so that's number one. Number two is a business owner. Number three is somebody that has network marketing experience. Now, whether they've been successful if their business, traditional business is successful or not, or even if they've done network marketing, whether or not they've been successful or not is irrelevant. And here's why. Those three categories, those are the categories that you want to focus on going after A players, and here's why. Their mindset. They think differently. Usually people that make, multiple six figures, they usually have some type of equity in the company, or, they buy shares in the company, or, they're making a lot of money, so they think more like a business owner. And 9 times out of 10, they're probably not happy with what they're doing. They're making a ton of money, but they realize that the owner's making a lot more and they feel undervalued. So, you look for those people. Business owners, again, whether they're successful or not, they're entrepreneurial. So those people tend to be more open when it comes to looking at an opportunity. And then obviously people in the network marketing industry, again, if they've had they've been involved with a company in the past. Now, these people, again, they may have had a bad experience, but they tried it. They're open-minded. And there's just some things that you need to say to get them to be open to looking at your opportunity. But I want to talk about the concept of going after A players, and here's why. Again, your friends and family, they're tired of listening to you. They're tired of looking at your posts. They're tired of hearing about your products and services. And again, this was something that really stuck out to me in the beginning because I thought, your friends and family were supposed to help you out. I didn't realize that a lot of my friends were going to, run away and stop talking to me and stop taking my calls. Turns out, you really learn who, your friends are. And family's supposed to help you out, right? Well, let me share a quick statistic with you. One of my sisters took about, one sister was very supportive from day one. The others, every one of my family was pretty much supportive, but my older sister took about 6 months, 7 months for her to become a customer. Like I had to keep asking over and over and over again. Kept blowing me off. And my own brother, took me about a year to get him as a customer. My own brother. And here's the kicker. He owed me money. I said, forget about the $20. I just need you to become a customer. And I was involved with a service-based company that was actually going to save them money. So it drove me crazy. But listen, when you start focusing on A players, people that are entrepreneurial, they're open-minded, they're easier to talk to, but they might be on your chicken list. I know in the beginning, when we start focusing on A players and I was new in the industry, right? People that I knew that were successful or owned a business or, that I looked up to, they automatically went onto my chicken list. I was so scared to talk to those people, right? But I'll tell you what, I learned how to overcome my fear. And you need to understand that, and that's all it is. It's just fear of rejection. So here's how you overcome that fear of rejection, because it's important to understand that you need to start conditioning yourself. You need to condition yourself, for success. Because if you don't, see, you're either feeding the fear muscle or the courage muscle. And the way to overcome fear is doing things that you are scared to do. Like talk to somebody that is super successful. Oh my God, what are they going to think? They might laugh at this business. They might laugh at me. I don't know what to say. Well, let me tell you something. Here's what I found out personally for me, is that the more successful somebody is, the more open-minded they are. And the faster it is that they'll look at your business. And it's crazy because I had people that I was friends with, close with, they wouldn't look at my business. But when I talked to people that were professional athletes, this one gentleman, sold one of the largest franchises on the East Coast, almost $100 million. I didn't talk to him personally because I didn't have that relationship with him, but his almost son-in-law, Greg, I'll give you a shout out, he approached him, and this guy was already retired. He came out to a presentation. I mean, this guy had $100 million in the bank, or whatever it was. It was a lot of money. But my point is, the more successful somebody is, the more open-minded they are. But see, we got to get out of our own heads, because that's what's stopping you. That's what's stopping you from having success. That's what's stopping you from hitting that next position. That's what's stopping you from achieving those dreams. Is that fear? Is the stories that you're telling yourself inside your head. So how do you overcome that? Well, you force yourself. You force yourself to make those phone calls. And I'm going to give you a couple phrases what to say to make it easy, to get them to look at your business. But you need to understand that you are either, every time that you are looking at your chicken list, or you're like, I should call that person. I need to call that person. I'm not going to call them, or I'll call them next week. See, you're either feeding that muscle, that fear muscle, you're either building that, or you're either strengthening that fear muscle, or you're strengthening the courage muscle. So have the courage to call that person when you don't feel like calling them. When you get nervous, you need to recognize it and then break through it, because that's the conditioning part, is just doing it. Hey, listen, I understand it might be difficult at first. Maybe in the beginning you just pick up the phone and you dial the number, but you don't hit send, right? You just get into the habit of doing that, right? And then eventually you're going to hit send. Oh my God, what do I say now? You'll figure it out. I'm going to give you, again, a couple phrases what to say to make that conversation go easy, but you need to stay in the zone. If you're going after your dreams and you're hustling, again, I know you are because you're watching this on a Friday nights, right? You're hustling. You need to stay in the zone. And the way you stay in the zone is by keeping your pipeline full. Because if you don't have enough people to talk to, and you're only focusing on one or two people, and those people aren't interested, well then guess what? You don't have anybody else to talk to, right? So you need to keep that pipeline full. Now, I'm also saying, let me back up for a second. I'm not saying to only focus on the A players, right? Because I really didn't know any A players in the early days of my business. I didn't know too many. Okay, I met a lot through my network. Okay, but personally, I didn't know that many. I mean, I didn't know anybody making $100,000 a year. I knew a couple business owners. I had no idea what network marketing was. But what I'll share with you is that you need to talk to everybody, because every dud knows a stud. I don't know if you've ever heard that before. And I'll tell you what, when I was introduced to network marketing at that time, I was considered, I don't know what I was considered. I did have a business at the time, but I didn't look at myself or consider myself an A player, because I was just becoming an entrepreneur. I just came off of my first failed business. Yeah, I had a business, but I lost $30,000 that summer. Okay, I was an unsuccessful entrepreneur. So I wouldn't say that I was an A player, but you never know, okay, what's inside somebody's heart. You don't know that, right? So you need to talk to everybody. But as you're building your network, you want to look for the A players. Who do you know that owns a business? Who do you know that ever did network marketing before? Who do you know that's just ultra successful? Who do you know that's making a couple $100,000 a year? Those are the people. Now, you might go through months and months and months of building a network, and nobody knows those types of people. But you want to keep asking, because what you ask for, you will eventually receive, okay? And that's, you need to have faith. So understand that you want to stop going after your friends and family. I mean, they know what you're doing, okay? They're either going to join you or they're not. They're either interested or they're not. Okay, and if you have a family like mine, they'll be supportive, but they're not going to join you. Be okay with that because, most people see our brains are hardwired. And psychology says that we're born with a negativity bias, which means that we're born skeptical. When people see things, they're skeptical unless everybody's doing it. So understand that when people say no to you, they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to the opportunity. So you need to take that, when you go and talk to that A player, you go talk to anybody for that matter. Take that, whatever the response is, you can't be getting emotional. Okay, you just need to go through the numbers and look for the right people. So let me give you a couple phrases. Okay, well, before I get into that, when you do approach somebody, I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. Every time that you call somebody or you approach somebody or you pique somebody's interest, I want you to ask yourself 2 questions at the end of that, whether they became a customer, whether they joined your business, or whether they just said, no, I'm not interested. The first question is, what was great about your approach? When you approach somebody, you made that phone call, ask yourself that question. What was great about your approach? What did you like about it? What did you feel comfortable about it? Okay. Number 2 is what could you have done differently to make that a better approach? Right? You constantly want to be getting better and being conscious of the good things that you're doing and focus on the good things and focus on the positive, okay? And build on that. Again, it's conditioning. So now let's talk about the 2 phrases, how to get those A players to look at your business. And again, keep in mind, these people are probably going to be on your chicken list. You're nervous to talk to them. You go to pick up that phone, and it's like it weighs 100 pounds, okay? I get it. I've been there. You're nervous. You're scared. You don't know what to say, right? So these 2 phrases, okay, is going to make the conversation go smooth. It's going to give them, it's going to kind of give them an out, right? And it's going to make it non-abrasive. So here's what it is. Now, first of all, you want to ask them, do you have a minute? So when you do call them, and listen, here's a crutch that you can use. If you're super nervous, that's the first thing you say. Hey, Joe, listen, this is Mike Lawson. Hey, listen, do you have a minute? Always ask that first, do you have a minute? Because if they're in the middle of dinner or they're in the middle of taking their kid to a doctor's appointment, or they're just in the middle of something, but they answer their phone, which I don't know why they answer their phone anyway when they're busy, but you ask them, get permission. Hey, do you have a minute? They say yes. Hey, Joe, listen, I wanted to talk to you about a business. I'm super nervous. I've been thinking about calling you for the last 5 months. And when you say that, you know what that does? That puts that on Joe, and Joe's like, oh, wow, why are you nervous to call me? Right? It automatically just brings everything down a notch, okay? And it just makes everybody relax because now he's attentive and he feels that. He feels that emotion from you. And maybe you don't say that, but you say this. Do you have a few minutes? Joe says yes. Joe, listen, I respect your business opinion. Joe, I respect your business opinion. Give him a compliment because when you compliment Joe, I really respect what you've done in dentistry. I really respect what you've done with the chain of grocery stores that you have. I really respect what you've done, with your cleaning business or with your lawn care business. I really respect your business opinion. And number 2 is, Joe, can you do me a huge personal favor? And can you take a look at this business that I just got involved in and give me your honest opinion? Now, listen, when you ask somebody for their honest opinion, be prepared for their honest opinion. But just keep in mind that it's their opinion. Again, most people that are successful, you're going to get a positive response. Hey, the guy that, that came out, that sold his franchise for almost $100 million, came out, sat through a business opportunity presentation, and at the end of it, he said, you know what? This is awesome. I love it. He's like, but I'm retired. I'm spending time with my grandkids. And he's got a ton of money in the bank. But you know what? He was like, I like it. It's great. So that was a lot different than talking to some of my friends in the beginning. Oh, it's a scam. Don't talk to Mike. It'll never work. Well, guess what they're still doing 16 years later, 17 years later? They're still working. And the guy, okay, that sold this franchise for $100 million, okay, loved it. Professional athletes loved it, right? Business-minded people love it. You know who are usually the most negative people are the people that are broke or don't make a lot of money. But listen, don't get into it with those types of people. So you want to make your business go smoother and be less stressed, talk to the A players. So, and remember, you're either strengthening your fear muscle or your courage muscle. So if you have a chicken list, which there's a good chance that you do, if you're being honest with yourself, you have a chicken list. You need to cross those people off your chicken list. And once I did this, and I'm not going to get into it in this video tonight, but I went after my chicken list, and I was so nervous and so scared. My face used to get beet red, but that's how bad I wanted it. And I literally drove around and did presentations and had, by myself, was doing presentations, and I was horrible. And we used to have, like, literally, it was like, our presentations were like, literally like 10 pages, 12 pages at the time. No videos back then. And I used to get so nervous and literally pulling out like papers and doing like a flip chart and being so nervous and so unprofessional, not just being not, I just wasn't sure of myself. It wasn't the company. It was myself. It was that fear. I had all these stories going on in my head. What are they going to think? They're going to think I'm crazy. But you know what? I did it anyway. And I'll tell you what, none of those people signed up. But I overcame those fears. And guess what? Other people did sign up. And you know what? Those other people that signed up eventually brought in A players. Because that's what we were looking for. So I hope this video helped you guys. If it did, do me a favor, drop the word value in the comment section. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, this is a topic that I'm very passionate about because, again, let your friends and your family be your friends and family. Stop trying to convince them. But go after business-minded people. They're successful for a reason. And they're the most open. And guess what? If you don't talk to them, somebody else will. I promise you, somebody else will. So go out there, make sure you go after those A players. Here's what I want you to do. Just over the next week, just over the next 7 days, because I'm going to do another Friday Night Leadership next Friday. Make a commitment. Just one person, talk to one A player for your business within the next week. One A player. Or knock one person off your chicken list. Usually the people on your chicken list are A players. So just talk to one A player or knock one person off your chicken list over the next 7 days. Can you commit to that? If you can't commit to that, do me a favor, drop the word commitment or commit or drop A player into the comment section. So that's all I have tonight, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I will catch you next Friday night. Again, thanks for all your support, and we'll talk soon. Have a great weekend, everybody.